And I still believe that these problems can be solved.
I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
This is the political show.
Hey, it is your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gix, right here on the Political Show on Active FM, where radio has never been better. And with me in studio we have
Gavin Enslin,
Pastor Gavin Enslin, and
the Black Knight.
This
Finally.
is not a recording of his voice. This is actually
a clone or something like that.
It is actually the Black Knight.
We actually slapped him just before the show to make sure it was really him.
Yes, we had to poke. We were all Thomas in the situation because,
I know of a whole lot of other people that are sick.
Hey?
I know of a whole lot of other people that have been sick since last week.
Yeah.
Vomiting and going to the porcelain god.
I can't believe that thing was actually on our show. And I listened to the show.
Yes, he did, guys.
Yeah, but
Yes, by the help of Pastor Gavin.
Yes, that is true.
It was only because of me, not with the help.
But he is my pastor after all.
Speaking of...
Sorry, when he gets to heaven and he faces God, that's not going to help you very much.
No, that is true. That is very true. That is true. So like I said...
My pastor believed in Jesus for me. It's not going to work.
Like I said, you listen to the Political Show right here on Active FM. Radio has never been better, and Christ Politics is...
Hot politics.
Hot Politics. And this week's Hot Politics is all about the CDC.
Well, it's all about masks.
And masks.
It's all about Zora.
Yes, if you haven't watched that movie, you're definitely young, very, very young, younger than us, because we're young, and then you younger.
Yeah, I think about 30 Zora movies have come out since I was born.
Right. So, would you want to give a brief explanation on what we're speaking about in terms of masks and the CDC today?
Well, the CDC came out with studies looking into the effectiveness of masks when it comes to stopping the spread of COVID-19 in schools in New York. And I can't remember now if it's the city of New York or the state of New York. I suppose it's pretty similar, both things. But the study found that the schools that had masking mandates versus those that don't, there was no statistical difference in terms of the spread of COVID-19. And they did the study over a period, as I understand, quite a long time. But something that we've been saying on the Situation Room since about September 2020, which we experienced the phenomenon in South Africa where they allowed the minibus taxis to fill the taxis in August 2020, the beginning of August. And we were expecting our numbers to go up. We had just hit a peak in July 2020 of infections. We were expecting our numbers to go up. And then what happened is they plummeted. And I saw there, and I think we all saw here on the Political Show, that masks don't do anything when it comes to the spread of COVID-19.
Yep.
And so now finally a study has come out from the CDC saying the same thing. So therefore, when people are masking, it's not related to a disease. It's something else.
Yeah.
Probably makes sense why Fauci could just change and say, mask, no mask. Okay, 2 masks, because it didn't make a difference.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to be speaking about. It's going to be quite hot.
Well, yeah. I mean, the CDC still, we need to discuss their recommendations.
Yeah.
Because, all right, so yeah.
Here is a song by Reactive called Passion.
itself. To love you more, my heart compelled. With passion I pursue and cling to you. You're my all, you're my all, you're my feeling your grip on my life, the anointing of your presence satisfies me like nothing else. With passion I pursue and cling to you, worshiping you no matter what I go through. A rich banquet for my soul, keeping you close to my heart. You're my all, you're my all, you're my all. Energized when I enter your heavenly sanctuary. More of your power, more of your glory. Waving my arms to you, surrender. Just before your rescue. Such yearning trips my soul. Spending time with you makes me whole. With passion I pursue and cling to you, worshiping you no matter what I go through. With passion I pursue and cling to you, worshiping you no matter what I go through. A rich banquet for my soul, keeping you close to my heart. You're my all, you're my all, you're my
Hey, wake up. It's the fairies here. Can you hear them? Listen, can you hear them? It's them. It's the fam. Yeah.
Active FM radio has never been better.
One thing about Reactive is that they have passion.
Of course. And in our church, we've been talking about active thinking versus passive thinking.
Yeah.
If you're part of the reactive movement, you definitely don't have passive thinking. Passive means you just let life happen to you, and then you just react to everything people do to you.
Mm-hmm.
Active thinking means you believe that you're going to have an impact on everything around you, and then guess what happens? You react to the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
In everything you react, so then you become radioactive.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I'm telling you. That was an awesome track by Reactive. You can catch the album on the different platforms. They are on. What is one of the platforms?
iTunes.
On iTunes. That's what I have. So I definitely know they are on iTunes. Yeah. So we are speaking about the CDC's new guidance to wearing masks. So they recently released, and I'm going to be reading from an article that was released on the 18th of January, which is this week. It was on Tuesday. It was released on Tuesday. And the headline is CDC issues new guidelines regarding masks, and this is by Midland Daily News. And this is what they have to say. On January 14th, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention updated guidance regarding masks to clarify that some types of masks and respirators provide more protection than others, especially as the more infectious Omicron variant spreads across the nation and drives more people into healthcare facilities.
Sorry, did you actually read the study, or are you just reading an article?
This is an article based off of the CDC's. Basically, it's.
No, but did you read the study?
I did go onto the CDC page.
And
they basically.
Because I don't know how that article puts it that way. Because when I read the CDC study, when I shot out at me.
Yeah, what?
That with this whole mask thing, everyone's been talking hogwash, rubbish, garbage, and like I like to say here in South Africa, twak. In fact, Black Knight was involved in a song once which quoted me, say, when I kulumalo twak, baba. It means you're talking twak. It means you're talking nonsense. You're talking garbage. So what that study said was something different to what you're saying now. Now they're talking about guidelines. They said cloth masks don't work.
Yeah.
That was number one.
Yes. So that's what they're saying. So this is what they say. That this is according to the update that CDC wrote on their guidance. It says some masks and respirators offer higher levels of protection than others, and some may be harder to tolerate wear.
But sorry, where did they get that from in terms of the study? Because do you know what the study actually said?
What does the study say?
Did you read the study?
I did, but I didn't memorize the study.
No, but the study was based on, they studied schools.
Yeah.
And across New York. Mm-hmm. And those that had mask mandates and those that didn't. Yeah. And what they found is that statistically, there was zero difference between the schools that had mask mandates in terms of COVID spread and those that didn't. That's what the study found.
Yeah.
So where do all these guidelines come from?
Mm-hmm.
According to the newspaper articles, they come from the CDC.
No, but what I'm saying is the study on the CDC website says that they were not able to prove any statistical difference between schools that had mask mandates and schools that don't.
Yeah.
So how do we get these new guidelines on wearing masks when the study indicates that masks don't work?
Yeah. Like, now you're trying to answer that question.
If I worked for them, I think I was going to have the answer. Don't know how.
No, but this is a media outlet that's now reporting on a study that says masks don't work. And they're coming about guidelines that are issued.
Yeah. So if you actually go and do look into the different, if you go and search CDC.
Did you search on Google?
Not just Google, on different platforms. So if you go into DuckDuckGo, I did look on Bing, DuckDuckGo, and Google. Those are the three search engines that I used. And a lot of the newspaper articles basically go through these guidelines and stuff. And obviously, I think the main thing is that they still want to keep people wearing masks, regardless of what.
Yeah, but that's not what the study showed. The study didn't show that.
Yeah.
The study showed that the masks make absolutely no difference when it comes to the spread of COVID.
So that's a major concern in terms of.
Well, it's not a concern because, sorry, with all due respect, we've been saying this since August 2020.
Yes.
And we've also got, and they call it anecdotal evidence, but it was anecdotal evidence across the whole of South Africa.
Yeah.
With the minibus taxi industry.
Yeah.
And those taxis were opened up, because the taxi industry refused to comply with the government orders. And we thought at the beginning of August 2021 that when they opened the taxis up, you had a whole lot of what they called super spreader environments. Correct?
Yes.
Windows were closed because that August was particularly cold for August.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And what percentage of the people, did either of you ride in those minibus taxis at all at that time?
No, not me.
I did.
You did? And how many people were wearing masks?
I was not wearing a mask myself.
No, but how many people were wearing masks? So you weren't, but were you the only one, or were you the norm?
Out of the
It's
15, is it 15 or 16?
15.
15. Out of the 15, you'd have seven people not wearing the mask.
Okay. Now, the thing I saw, you'd have maybe 2 or 3 people wearing masks, and most of the taxi drivers weren't wearing masks themselves.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So I was expecting the numbers to skyrocket in South Africa in August 2020, and they plummeted.
They did, yeah.
And from that moment, I wasn't sure about the mask thing because obviously you had people arguing about the mask mandates. So I remember in June, July, people would tell me, no, but you know, for freedom and that, and you must fight the mask. And I used to say, I'm not going to fight the masks because I don't have evidence to know whether they work or not. But after August 2020, I knew they don't work.
Yeah.
Because if they worked, if they were preventing spread, we would have had a serious uptick.
Yeah.
When people were in super spread environments across the whole of South Africa, not wearing masks. So we already had a study right there, August 2020 in South Africa.
Yeah.
Masks do absolutely nothing in terms of combating the spread of COVID.
Yeah.
There are other factors at play.
Yeah.
So please continue with your article.
Sure.
Do we call this an article a propaganda piece?
Hey, that's very deep. And says again, continues to say that it is important to wear a well-fitted mask or respirator.
But what evidence are they citing now for saying this?
So I'm going to get to the evidence that they say.
No, I'd like the evidence. I don't want all. We've had recommendations coming out of our ears now for 2 years.
So they say that the updated guidance also added information to present similar content for masks and respirators, clarified that people can choose respirators such as N95s and KN95s, including removing concerns related to supply shortages for N95s. Clarified that surgical N95s, which are the surgical masks, are...
No, the N95 is those thick things.
Yes.
Okay, have you worn one of those things?
No.
You've never worn one?
No, because...
I was using N95 masks because I was all masked up in 2020.
Ready.
I did funerals with COVID-20. People died of COVID-20. Listen to me, COVID-19. Okay, I did funerals.
Yeah.
So, based on medical recommendations, I wore N95 masks and latex gloves.
Is that sure?
Yes, to those funerals. Now, COVID never killed me, but the N95 mask nearly did because I'm asthmatic.
Sure.
I couldn't breathe with those things.
Yeah,
I'd be doing the
can't
funeral and I'd
breathe with the
have to pull it forward. Now it's got these elastics on, so now you're in pain because you have to pull this thing forward, and I would have to pull it forward every now and then put it back on my face to keep being able to breathe. Plus, I'm trying to do a funeral now. Eventually, I'll just take the thing and shove it on my chin because you can't speak, you can't breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I struggle breathing with normal surgical masks. So, yeah, no. But this is the evidence that they
So
have
now you've
on
got all
this.
these kids that must come with N95 masks to schools. And amongst those kids, you've got asthmatics.
Yeah.
And the kid must wear an N95 mask the whole day. Are they crazy?
I mean, I have a family member who's asthmatic, but she wasn't wearing an N95 mask. She was wearing a normal, the normal blue surgical mask.
Yes.
And she went to a shopping center and she actually collapsed at the store
Through oxygen deprivation.
Yes.
Because of a surgical mask.
Yes. And
okay, now let me tell you, a surgical mask is like fresh air compared to a N95 mask.
That's hectic.
So now all these little kids now, they must wear N95 masks because the study shows that the masks that they were wearing don't stop the spread.
Yeah, basically. So this is what evidence they have. They say that masks acts as source control to
No, that's not evidence. That's a story. That's a narrative. What's the evidence?
That's the evidence. They're saying that this is the evidence. At least 10 studies have confirmed that the benefit of universal masking according to the CDC, documenting that new COVID-19 infections fell significantly.
Sorry, that's not evidence.
For
No. To say at least 10 studies is not evidence.
Yes.
Okay, evidence says, right, school A wore N95 masks, school B didn't. School B wore cloth masks. School C wore no masks.
Yeah.
And then what happened to the spread of COVID in the schools?
Yeah.
That's evidence. All right. But now, I'm sorry, we need to use the same standard that these people used when it came to ivermectin.
Yeah.
Because they put these incredibly high academic, I don't know what kind of standards they put on ivermectin to try and prove that it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true.
So we need to put those same standards on the studies with the masks.
Yeah.
And I mean, Black Knight, I don't know if you hear any evidence there. What I hear is a story. And if you tell me at least 10 studies, show me the studies.
Yeah, no, that's
What
true.
are the studies?
Yeah.
Did they reference the studies?
No, they haven't.
Do they have a bibliography?
No, they don't have it on.
But you know what? At the end of the day, this is now what makes me angry. If that is an article, and it should be a research article if they're making those claims, even with the CDC should be referencing those studies and giving us evidence and proof where this thing helped.
Yes.
They're not giving that. They're just giving recommendations there. And basically what happens is someone blows their nose and they then take the mucus that comes out, puts it on a piece of paper. That's the evidence.
I was actually laughing on Tuesday. So when I was listening to our news, the site, they were saying that the mask doesn't fully protect you from COVID, but it protects you from things like bacteria and malaria. I'm like, so they just it's basically what you're saying. They just
it protects you from malaria.
Yeah. So
in Joburg, we need to be protected. Why do we need to be protected? Sorry, how does a mask protect you from? Did they say malaria? Are you sure they said malaria?
I'm sure. I'm very sure they said.
Do you know?
That.
I mean, Gigs, you come from the DRC. Now, the DRC is a place that's very popular for malaria. Correct? Very correct.
Very correct.
So, do you get malaria by breathing in stuff?
Definitely not.
How do you get malaria?
You get malaria through mosquitoes.
Now, this is the issue that I have here, guys. You know, Gigs, I thought you were going to come here with something scientific. I'm actually very disappointed by the article that you presented here today.
But that's
because I actually looked at that. I looked at that CDC study.
Yeah.
It showed no difference between schools that mask and schools that don't mask.
Yeah.
So how do you get all these other recommendations? What? This thing that you're doing doesn't work.
Yeah.
So what do? Do more of it.
That's
now,
how
can I just tell you one other thing?
Yeah.
At the end of 2020 to 2021, now, that was the European winter. I don't know if you remember those videos came out with people standing with N95 masks in the cold air in places like northern United States and Canada and places, you know, when there's snow.
Yeah.
And then they put on the N95 mask and you see where the vapor comes out.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if you saw any of those videos, but it comes out all over the place, but on the sides here. Do you know that there are studies that have indicated that a mask might actually make you more susceptible because it creates like vacuums around you? So it concentrates the air. And I don't know if you know what happens. Take for example, Wellington.
Yeah.
Now, Wellington is on the coast between the North and the South Island of New Zealand.
Yeah.
So all the wind comes off the Pacific there, and it blows between two mountain ranges on the North Island and the South Island of New Zealand.
Yeah.
So what happens to it? It gets concentrated. So in Wellington, you get very high winds as a result. So now what happens is, I've actually read studies that have indicated that when you're wearing a mask, the air flow is concentrated, and it makes, if a virus is coming past, it makes it more likely to go into your nose or your mouth than if you're not wearing a mask. So it actually increases the chance of getting COVID. And Black Knight said that they say it protects you from bacterial infections. That's nonsense. it increases your risk of bacterial infection.
Sure. That is crazy.
Because if any bacteria gets on the mask,
Yeah.
that increases. You're going to increase the exposure to that because you gotta clean that mask with alcohol every time
Yes.
after
that's
every
true.
usage.
That's actually very.
Otherwise, there's stuff on there.
And people don't clean their masks after every use. Like you take your mask, even if you just put on your chin, you have to already clean it.
Yeah, you need to
because
clean
it's
it.
exposed to something.
If you've touched it with your fingers, you have to clean it.
Exactly. So that hasn't been happening.
Have you watched guys that are in operating theatres?
Yes, they don't touch anything.
They don't touch anything, and you
Even
see
the
how they wash
gloves.
their hands.
Yes, like the gloves are put on them.
So
Everything is put on them.
This is a lot of hogwash.
It is a whole lot of hogwash.
Yeah, and also if water vapor you can see. Can you see viruses and bacteria?
No.
No, only under a microscope.
Yeah.
So if stuff that you can see comes out of the N95 mask,
Imagine.
then what's going to happen with stuff you can't see?
Yeah. Sure, that's very true.
I
Carry on.
I just wanted to point out that with that you can tell that there's no science or data that's being followed. People are just saying their own things.
They're just saying stories and they're saying experts say and
I
studies say.
actually read an article, was it last week or the week before? I read an article where a whole group of scientists and medical doctors actually came together, and they commented on this article saying that the governments aren't listening to them because they rather taking the advice of people like news outlets, government officials and stuff, rather than what the actual scientists and the medical doctors are saying about the spread of COVID-19. And this article is actually evidence of that, because a lot of people, if you go and search this whole new thing with the masks and stuff like that, you'll find a whole lot of articles that are saying that you just have to wear thicker masks and stuff. And I know you're already worked up, but this is the last paragraph. I promise you, this is the last paragraph. It says, well, it's not the last paragraph, it's just the last paragraph that I've highlighted.
What do you mean I'm worked up?
It says that anyone ages 2 years old or older who is not vaccinated or not up to date on vaccination. So you are with us. All those of you that got vaccinated but do not have your booster shots, you are part of those of us who have not yet been vaccinated.
You're unvaxxed.
Yes.
Welcome to the world of the unvaxxed.
Or not up to date on vaccines should wear masks in indoor public spaces, the CDC stated. This recommendation also applies to people who are up to date on their vaccines when they are in an area of substantial or high transmission. The CDC also currently recommends universal indoor masking for all teachers, students, staff, and visitors to K-12 schools, regardless of their vaccination status or the area's transmission rates.
Well, then the vaccine doesn't work, does it?
Basically.
Okay, so and you know, being up to date with your vaccine status, what evidence is there that it stops you getting COVID?
Yeah.
In fact, most of the people I know got Omicron who were vaccinated.
No, that's true. That's actually very
In fact,
true.
they're treating us like, I don't know, a phone, a software now. You
Yes.
have to be
Yeah.
up to date.
Yeah,
Yes.
you must be up to the latest version.
Yes, that is very true. So what are your final thoughts, Black Knight? And what I just read and what we just spoke about in terms of the masks and stuff.
More lies. So and I'm just happy that we actually spoke about this whole thing that they're gonna want you to the ones that have got the double shots, they're gonna end up saying that they're normal vaccinated now.
Yeah.
It's only when you have the booster shot. I know we said that, and
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Israel's going for the fourth shot now.
yeah. Okay. Israel's running.
I think in February you need a fourth shot to be fully vaccinated.
Sure.
They're going to a wrong promised land right now. I'm telling you.
Sure. Pastor, what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, look, this thing of follow the science, follow Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, these people are not following the science. It's just a byline, and they just say evidence suggests or studies, 10 studies, or this that experts say whatever.
Yeah.
They're talking nonsense, man. Refer to a definite.
Yes.
And, like I refer to a definite. The taxi industry, 2020.
Yeah.
That's how I worked out. This story about masks, a lot of hogwash.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So let us know your thoughts on our social media platforms. Where do
Sorry,
you
can
stand?
I give you one last thought?
Yeah.
If you go into a place where you've got a very bad pathogen, maybe a laboratory or something like that, you don't just wear a mask.
Yeah, you wear hazmat
You
suit.
don't even wear a hazmat suit.
Really?
You put on one of those full things which has got separate oxygen and all that sort of stuff.
Yes. Because you're not even breathing
So what's a
the
mask
same
going to
air.
do?
That is very true. Let us know your thoughts on our social media platforms. I'm your girl Cynthia with
Gavin Inston.
Pastor Gavin Inston and
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight, right here on the political show where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics.
Hi, I'm Johan Kruger from Creation Ministries International. Just want to say to you that I serve a great and wonderful God that created everything, and He created me, and He also created you.
We help distributors grow their sales by over 15% in the first 90 days with our automated mobile software solution. Rapid Trade is used by over 16,000 users worldwide, and we process over 120,000 transactions per day on both iOS and Android. From web ordering and management to e-commerce and even van sales or electronic proof of delivery, we've got your business covered. Call us for a demo on 011-493-9755 or email us at sales@rapidtrade.com. Go on. Make your customer a happy one today by getting onto Rapid Trade.
In Matthew 13, verse 45 to 46, it says, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it."
One of the things I'd like to say is that we're living in the kingdom of the world, and the kingdom of the world is filled with lies. People come and they say things are scientific that aren't, and all sorts of things like that. Jesus comes up around and he says basically everything that you have in the world is worth selling in order to obtain the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of God is so valuable that it's worth more than everything this world has to offer. Now, the reason that is because the kingdom of heaven is eternal, whereas the kingdom of this world is going to die. It is under the curse of death. Now, I want you to think about the Bible. If you look at what Jesus taught, and if you look at the Apostle Paul, and you look at all of these things, there's far more science in what they spoke about than in the religion of COVID that we have in the world today. Because COVID's a religion. The same as the religion of evolution and the religion of climate change. These are all religions, and they all claim to have the scientific evidence. Now, if you watch the Apostle Paul, for example, in Romans chapter 1, he actually defines how a society decays. You can actually read that, and you can look at society, and you can see how these things that Paul explains, what happens when people chuck God out of the picture. You actually can look at the world, and you can map what the Bible says is going to happen with what happens in the world. You look at what Jesus taught in the Sermon on the Mount and places like that. You can actually map and see how the words of Jesus are so accurate in terms of what happens in the world today. And so there's actually a sociological science to the Bible. And the Bible's incredibly accurate if you look at it from a scientific perspective, talking about human relationships and all of those sorts of things. Now, this same Jesus who was so accurate, who raised people from the dead, who healed people, he also said the kingdom of heaven, which is something you can't look at in terms of science because it's in a realm that is in another dimension, is so valuable that it's worth giving up everything for. It's worth laying your life down, surrendering it to Jesus so that you can gain that. Now, I just want to say one last thing about that. You know that science has even proved that there are other dimensions? In fact, a number of the ufologists, a number of them have come to say that these UFOs are coming from another dimension. So a spirit world. Interesting how over 2,000 years and science is finally starting to catch up to the very beginnings of the Bible.
Exactly.
Amen.
Let us know your thoughts on our social media platforms. It's been a crazy topic, very hot topic. Yes.
Next time you want to do a topic like this, can we please have boxing gloves?
Yes, and I'll I'll actually come with evidence. Next time we do a topic like this, I'll make sure I come with evidence. I will go onto the CDC and actually find the evidence that they have. But let us know your thoughts in terms of the masks and stuff. Do you think that they're working? Do you think that they're not working? Should we wear more layered masks, regardless of the fact that there's people passing out, regardless of the fact that
people passing out,
you can't breathe? Pastor Gavin gave the whole thing about the air being directed in what
we can all wear masks and put on the I'm George Floyd.
Right.
I can't breathe.
right. It's actually not too soon, so we can use that joke. But let us know your thoughts on our social media platforms. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Gix. And with me in studio we've had
Gavin Inslin,
Pastor Gavin Inslin, and
the Black Knight.
Right here. Yes, it is. Like I say, it is not a recording. It is actually him. He is sitting right next to me in studio.
If we were filming the show, you would have seen him.
Yes.
And I'm healed.
And he's healed.
Yes. Amen.
For the rest of this year. He will be in every
recording.
Amen. Right here on the Political Show on Active FM, where radio has never been better and Christ politics is
Hot Politics.
Here's a song called Every Day by Folabi Newell, featuring Limo Blaze, Killer Thrills, and Manny.
Hey, every day, new day with a new song. For La Noel, Limo Blaze. Hey, let's get it, New day with a new song. I'm out up with him like a newborn. I'm feeling soft. This your love, give me goosebumps. And guess what? On the run, did have no U-turn. And see, can't cobble a machukum, get me best in my. Not gonna off in a tinum kajikita. It's if I have to maniac and hanky. Now everything is well, it's in the realm. Be like, babe.
Now you the ginger me, every day now you the cover me. You love the remedy. Everything where they bother me, blessings follow me. I can feel it in this melody, It be like the rain me. All the things where you do for me, Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Now your love on this street. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Now your love on this street.
Call me your favorite baby, no weapons they fashion against me, none you go prosper against me, cause now you be my God, you're my daddy, no, never letting go, no anymore, this your love is sure, it's too sure, it is no doubt, expels all fear, you're my confidence, oh, this type of love that you get for me, I go tell them you go. I don't feel like I just win the lotto. This your love is sweet, passing promo. This your love, it chase me everywhere and everywhere.
Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Now your love I see. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Now your love I see. I'm feeling it. The way that you hold me down, oh yes, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. The way that you hold me down, oh yes,
FM shows, well then catch us on Instagram at ActiveFM777, Twitter and Gab at ActiveFM, Facebook at ActiveFM/777, as well as YouTube at ActiveFM and our website at www.activefm.co.za. Don't stop, don't hesitate. Find, follow and enjoy us on all our different platforms. You don't want to miss out.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.